I do apologize for any sounds you're going to hear because they're going to be like notifications and stuff, text, notifications, messenger, and all that, because I'm recording this on my phone. So I do apologize if you hear that. I want to take this moment to talk about a certain character. And I mentioned, in my opinion, what I think is going to happen. But let's talk about Lanolin the sheep from IDW Sonic. Now, we all know she started off as sort of like a very minor background character, and over time, Ian Flynn, Stanley, and others decided to make her more of a, I guess you could say, major supporting character. Mostly 1/3 of what is now known as the Neo Diamond Cutters, along with Whisper and Tangle. And Lanolin has kind of been one of those characters to where you either like her or you don't. But she's very, I guess you could say, very, I wouldn't say controversial, but very complex in a way. Because to a lot of fans, the way she was, introduced, as she is now, as part of the Diamond Cutters, basically reminded them a lot of Sally, especially when you have Sonic holding her hand and everything at the end of one of the arcs. And it's understandable why they would feel that way, because Lanolin is trying to take her job as, I guess you could say, a quote-unquote freedom fighter, resistance fighter, Neo Diamond Cutter very seriously, to the point that it feels like what she really wants to do in the Neo Diamond Cutters is not just contribute, to the team and do what's right, but she also wants to be a leader. She wants to basically be like the, I guess you could say, the speaker, if you will, the head honchette, if you will, of the team. And that's great, for her to want to inspire her to do, because basically you got Whisper that, when she sees someone like, let's say, mimic, in her eyesight or something, all she wants to do is kill him. And in Tangle, she trying to mature and grow, and the recent arc really showed that. But she's also very lovable and, fun, very lovable, adorable, and basically likes to have fun. Likes to eat, likes to take it easy at times when need be. And that's cool too. You have a balance. You have 3 different personalities. But when people look at Lanolin in this recent arc, they feel like maybe what they're seeing is someone that basically, pushed things a little too far. In other words, she was trying to assert her authority. I shouldn't say authority, but more like she was trying to assert a leadership role that, let's be honest, as I said, she wants to obviously be, but she hasn't earned or hasn't been gifted with. And basically, I think this is why a lot of fans, they kind of, they still like the character and they see potential with her, as do I. But they also feel like this kind of put her in a similar vein as to how Sally was represented at one point. And again, this is where the Sally comparisons come in. Because at one point during the Archie Sonic run, depending on who was writing the book, whether it was Penders or Bollars or whoever, between that time frame, Sally was positioned in a way to where fans turned on her. I wouldn't say all the fans did, but a lot of fans didn't like the way she was being written. It's like, this is not Sally. Sally would not act this way. Why is she being written like this? I don't like this Sally. I hate this Sally kind of thing. Basically, you have fans turning on her, to a point to where they hope something bad would happen to her. They did. And again, like I said, not a lot of fans were turning on her. I was reading the comics, as a fan, and I still like Sally. And I was kind of trying to understand from a story standpoint, okay, I see what's going on with her. Like, emotionally, mentally, she's not thinking straight because, she's just gone through a lot of recent stuff. She just, she thought the love of her life was dead, but here he's back. And, she doesn't want to lose him again or potentially lose him again and so on and so forth. So she's got a lot of baggage. And, from a story standpoint, that's understandable. It's understandable. And it can be, I guess you could say, enjoyed in a sense correctly if wrote correctly. And a lot of fans felt like it wasn't, done that way thanks to Bollars and Penders. But what I'm getting at, when you look at the comparisons, you kind of see something similar with Lanolin. Lanolin is starting to act like, somebody you want to disdain, you want to see something happen to. And yeah, when she had that look on her face when it got revealed in issue 75 that Duo was actually Mimic in disguise, and then her humbling herself, being like, look, I screwed up. I can understand if you don't want me to be around anymore. That's fine. I'll go and do my own thing. Maybe it wasn't like it wasn't maybe like the moment to where it's like, that's, to where fans could point and say, that's what you get for being such a bitch. Excuse my language, God. But, still, it was a moment to where basically you could see her characters now starting to, I guess you could say, develop and realize maybe she shouldn't, be so much in a hurry to take on a leadership role and everything. And I will give Ian Flynn and Van Stanley, whoever wrote issue 75, a lot of credit. Because this is what should have been done, and it was. Ironically, it was done by the same person that kind of fixed Sally when he took over the Archie books. But what I'm getting at, basically, is you can kind of see that comparison throughout this arc, this recent arc, if you will, that apparently, according to Mega Beatman, ran for 73 issues? Oh, not 73, but that would be a long time. But ran for 13 issues? 13, 14 issues? You can understand why fans felt that way. You can understand why fans felt that way because they were dealing with it on the Archie run of things, for a bit longer when it came to Sally. Thankfully, like I said, the same person that obviously gave Lanolin her moment of, humbleness and humiliation of, okay, I royally screwed up. I'm sorry. I understand if you don't want me to around anymore. Basically she's telling Whisper and Tangle, look, I know I can be a hard-headed bitch. Excuse my language, Lord. Excuse my language again, Lord. But, she's basically telling him, look, I know I can be a hard-headed bitch and I should have listened and I assumed it too quickly when I shouldn't have, It's a good moment for her to have. It's a good moment, and it may not be the moment fans were hoping for, but it was a good character building moment because now you fast forward to the upcoming arc that, follows this to where things are going to be repaired, and that moment she's going to have with Silver. Yeah, you can probably say Silver is going to probably forgive, won't probably, but will forgive her, but maybe play a little game a little bit because, Silver being Silver, he'll probably mess with her a little bit and then kind of joke around, say, hey, don't worry, I do forgive you, but I just wanted you to understand how, you felt towards me, I wanted to just kind of humble you a little bit. He'll forgive her and probably, like I say, play a little game to where even she'll start laughing at it and realize, okay, as I mentioned before, that maybe she's going to realize she shouldn't take things too seriously and she should have a little fun, when it comes to her job. Like kind of try to balance it out. I mean, look at Sally. Pre-reboot and post-reboot, she took her job seriously, but she also knew how to have fun. She balanced it out. And if Ian Flynn's goal, in my opinion, and I'm sure some might share a similar opinion, if his goal is to make Lanolin the Sally, or the pseudo-Sally, if you will, of IDW, or at least their version of her, to an extent, if that's his goal, then, having her humble herself and apologize and everything, and then maybe learn from there, hey, don't be so serious, have a little fun, balance it out, joke around a little bit, I think it's a good start. I think it will be a good start. But yeah, when you look at this character, I think she does have the potential in the long run, especially as we head to 100, I think she has the potential to be a surprisingly good character. I really do. Especially if we're going to get to a point where you're going to have that final showdown between Mimic and Whisper, and Whisper basically has him, ready to be, taken out for good. And it takes maybe not just Tangle, but it takes Lanolin to talk her out of it and saying, is this what your team would really have wanted? Or would they want him to face justice? So that to me, I think is going to be a moment that when that confrontation happens, and I still believe it's going to happen, because I believe what's going to happen as well is you're going to have Bell, this chief mechanic, and you're going to have Tails work on, a way to not only allow the Diamond Cutters, the Neo Diamond Cutters, to disable Mimic shapeshifting abilities, but they might even upgrade Whisper's mask, as well as maybe upgrade some of the goggles that the girls have that will allow them to detect, where Mimic's at without harming the populace and all that. And again, I believe this will all lead to that showdown with Whisper and Mimic. And when we get a similar moment like we did in the first Tangle and Whisper miniseries, where it's like Whisper's going to, kill the guy and everything for what he did, I could see we're going to get a moment where it's going to take more than just Tangle to talk her out of it. I could see it's going to be, Lanolin that does it, as well. And maybe Lanolin's the one that gives that speech of, maybe she gives that speech to Whisper, to where she's like, is this what you want, Whisper? Is this what your team wants or would have wanted? Or would they want him to face justice? And I think that last part where she'll say something similar to that is what's going to get Whisper to maybe tear up a little bit, but also drop, her weapon, grab Mimic and say, and basically tell him, I hope you rot for a long time or something like that. So I can see that all going down. I can see that all going down. But yeah, I think all outside of that, because I know that moment's happening. You want to really redeem Lanolin. Not only do you have her apologize and maybe, kind of be humbled by one of the people she apologizes to, and then learns to lighten up and basically be like, okay, I get it. Need to have a little bit more fun in what I do, But also, I think you having her be the one, along with Tangle, to try to talk Whisper out of, taking Mimic's life and instead having him face justice, I think would be a great moment to really bring Lanolin full circle and really redeem her and make it out to a lot of fans that she has, truly learned that being a Neo Diamond Cutter not only means balancing out, having a little fun, but also taking your job seriously, but also doing the right thing when it comes to, basically seeing justice serve, or seeing those that have done wrong, get what they deserve, but done, the right way, in my opinion. But yeah, that's all I can really say on what I think, what I see happening, what I see Lanolin the Sheep's future is going to be going forward in the IDW comic. Because again, the comparison between her and Sally, despite the comparison right off the bat when she started to become a major supporting character, the comparison, especially now with this recent arc, I wouldn't say it's on the same level, but it's very similar. Because as I said, a lot of fans started to hate on Sally. Not all fans, but some fans started to hate on her because of the way she was being written. But thankfully, it took Ian Flynn, ironically, to get her back to being likable, and fans that were hating on her to love her once again. And I think we're seeing that same thing, that same dynamic here with Lanolin. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Let me know what your thoughts are on it. Comment down below, like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, click on the click on the links in the description to find my content elsewhere, as well as click on the link at the bottom to check out my Teespring store for merchandise you can't get anywhere else. Also, check me out at deviantart.com at BVW1979. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are. Do you agree with me? And until then, I'm out.